Do you have an athlete that wants to quit his or her sport but is very talented? Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Cohn for the Sports Psychology Podcast. In this video, you're going to learn about my approach when kids want to quit. You're watching Sessions with Doc. Here's the question I received from Jessica about her son. She said, my son was so excited to play football and ready to go, but he already wants to quit this season badly. The coaches are pretty hard on them. I don't know what to do. I don't want him to quit in the face of these challenges, but he's just not happy. It hasn't been that long. What do you think I should do about my son and his football game? Well, Jessica, this is a very, very common question that I receive from parents. It's a big question, as a matter of fact, a very common question I get for parents. So here's what I typically say. Has your athlete fallen out of love with the sport and just hates the sport altogether, has different interests, wants to play another sport, wants to do other things in his life, wants to focus on his studies? Okay, then maybe it's time to move on. That's more of an interest level, not wanting to compete anymore. And it's really more about joy and losing the joy and losing the fun in the sport. However, if it's about pressure, if it's about lack of confidence, if it's about not performing up to one's ability, now it becomes a mental game issue. So I try to separate whether your athlete doesn't like sports anymore altogether, or your athlete has mental game challenges, feels too much pressure, doesn't like the coaches, is struggling with very, very strict coaches. And my response to you is, we can help. A mental coach can help you with the pressure, with the lack of confidence, maybe slumping, maybe dealing with the coaches as well. Often you can't change the coach, but you can change how your athlete responds to the coach. So that's very important as well. So we want athletes to really stay involved in sport if it's a mental game challenge, because we feel like we can help with that. Often parents will come to us and say, our athlete feels an enormous amount of pressure, doesn't want to go to practice, has this sinking feeling in their stomach, and they're just not having fun with it. What should I do? Well, guess what? Often it's about social approval and fear of failure. One thing is, if he doesn't appreciate his teammates, if he's risen to a higher level and is not getting along with his teammates, that can create a lot of havoc for athletes. The other thing is, if he's worried about what coach thinks, he's worried about what parents think, he's worried about what teammates think. That's a social approval issue and something that can improve and can be solved. But that's a big source of the pressure that athletes feel when they want to quit. They feel too much pressure to perform up to standards or up to expectations. They don't want to let anybody down. They don't want to embarrass themselves. So you have to be very mindful of those issues. Are they worried too much about others? Worried about letting down the coach? They hate their teammates because their teammates and the athlete is not getting along. So those are some of the common issues we see athletes that will drive them out of their sport. But to me, if your athlete doesn't like the game anymore, has other interests, wants to play another sport, then that's a better reason for him to quit the game. However, like I said, if it's a mental game issue, if it's pressure, expectation, confidence, slumping, team communication, dealing with the coaches, that's something that we handle here at Peak Performance Sports. So if you want more information about that, jump over to our website at peaksports.com and click on our coaching programs there. We have sports-specific programs for all sports, or mostly all sports. In addition, we have workbook and audio programs that would help them as well. And we do have one for football too. So I thank you for your question, and I hope it works out with your son. Thanks.